Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good. Now today I've got a very special guest. I'm delighted to be joined by Jack Devenport, who is a big Arsenal fan. And yeah, I can't wait to chat a bit about the PSG game, about Arsenal. And if you guys do have any questions, you're more than welcome to send them in. And yeah, we'll answer them. But first of all, Jack, thank you for coming on. How is your day been?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thanks for having me on. We were chatting last night, weren't we, on Twitter, saying it might be a very different podcast if we don't get the
Yeah.
result. So glad we won, because now we can have a happy podcast rather than an hour of complaining.
It's always like really tough as well when you've lost and you have to come on and it's like, ugh, like, you don't want to be chatting about the negatives from the
Mhm.
game. You want to just be chatting about amazing things. So it's always quite hard in that sense. But like you said, amazing win. Do you know what? If I'm being honest, I am quite surprised at how comfortable our performance
Mhm.
was. Like the first, I know it was sort of two different halves because we were more sort of defensive in the second half, and it was a bit of a different half, but were you sort of surprised how it went with our performance? Like, I just felt quite relaxed, watching us play.
Yeah, it's the first time in ages I've seen a massive club come to the Emirates and actually look scared. Like, I
Yeah,
remember, like, even last year when we played Bayern, like, we were the better team, but they were quite happy to just pop the ball on the counter. Like, they still looks like they were up for the game, but PSG were just in a shell. And like you say, I think we sort of dominated the first half, went 2-0 up, and then we're just happy to control it. We were like, you can have the ball. I think we had 35% possession
yeah.
by the end of the game. We were just like, we're 2-0 up. We know we've got good defenders. So if you want to pop the ball around in the midfield, be our guest, and then we'll just hit you on the counter, and it worked. But yeah, so comfortable.
I know. It's just, yeah, I was so surprised. Like it was just really strange to be fair, because like going to the game, like, how were you feeling? Because for me, like I know it wasn't the PSG from a few years ago, but I
Mhm.
also know that they're a very good side. But I just had this sort of confidence in the team with how we're sort of playing that we would just win. Like, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I just felt like it was. I felt like it was our time. I feel like Arteta's sort of every year he's had something different to sort of break down, and he does it every year. Like, first of all, it was like, no, we never beat the big six teams, and then we started doing that, but we never beat them away, and then we started winning at Stamford Bridge, picking up results, and then and now it's we've never beaten a big team in the Champions League, or not for a while anyway. So now it was nice that we've done the PSG, we've beaten them. I thought last year was going to be that with Bayern, but now with PSG, it's nice. It's another stage of where we've gone, just showing how far we've come.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing to sort of see. It's just nice to be back in the Champions League after like all those years. But I think as well, when we've played yesterday as well, you could really see, that we're competing. I mean, I looked at Celtic and I thought they're so far off, being
Mhm.
able to compete right now. I mean, for you, like in the Champions League this season, like for me, I do love being in the Champions League, but like the Premier League for me is always in the back of my mind. It's like that's sort of my number one thing. Do you think we could win a Champions League, or do you feel like we should focus more on the Premier League?
I'm so torn. I mean, you just said
Yeah,
obviously thinking about the Prem. Where are you with it this season? If you could pick one to win, I want to know where you are.
Premier League for me. Do you know, because I've never seen us win the
Okay.
Premier League, I want
Wow.
it so bad, and it's like, what about you?
Yeah, I'm sort of on the Premier League's like the big one we've not done in 20 years, and it's like 38 games, best team in the season. No one can doubt it. Whereas Champions League's more of like it's a cup run, but it's just we've not done it. United have done it, City have done it now, Chelsea have too. It's that one thing I really want to get. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so torn. I mean, both, please.
Yeah, I mean, this season, if we're able to do both, I'm not going to complain. But it's so weird, the Champions League, because we're doing so good right now, and I think this season the players will obviously want to go far in it. But I also know, like with our squad, we obviously picked up a few injuries. I know the players are coming back now, but I'm just starting to think, do we have the squads for the Champions League? Because I think we've got more of a squad for the Premier League, and in the Champions League, if we come up against Madrid for me is that team that I feel like you know, they'd be really difficult to beat. I know Man City is always a really competitive one, but I just feel like it sort of depends on who we get as well, because you could really get a good draw up to the final and win it. It all sort of depends for me, but like you said, winning it would be special because it's so annoying when people give us stick about not winning it, and it'd be nice to just win it and you wouldn't have to do that
Just get it
anymore. Yeah.
I mean, like you say, we could literally get like Madrid in the round of 16, then a Bayern, then a City, or you could get a nice run. And I think the good thing is, like you were just saying, I would now back Arsenal against pretty much every team, bar City and Madrid. I think we
Yeah.
at least have a chance of beating the rest of them. Which is, and how nice is that? I remember going into Europa League games, being nervous about sort of Villarreal and Olympiacos, and now we're chatting about Champions League runs.
I know, it's so crazy, honestly, like, for me, it's so weird, like, when we were in the Europa League, I absolutely hated it, I'm not gonna lie,
Mhm.
like, I know we weren't ready for the Champions League, but I just didn't really want to be in the Europa League, like, it's just
No.
doesn't excite you really, does it, as a fan? But, like, I wouldn't want us to be in, like, the Champions League if we weren't ready, because I've seen us
Mhm.
getting battered so many times, it's honestly not nice. So yeah, I just hope we can, you know, see how it goes in the Champions League. It'd be great if we won it. I mean, I don't think any of us would stop talking about it. I think we'd be unbearable. Um,
You
um,
think Arsenal fans are unbearable now? You wait until
just
we.
imagine,
You
yeah, honestly.
need to lock off Twitter, for Instagram for a month because we'll be
That
unbearable.
that's why I want us to like win something big, because then you know we'll all be terrible. To honestly,
Mhm.
Twitter will be absolutely mad, and I love that. Good question here. Big up Michael as well, and big up Ford on football as well. Good to see you guys in the chat. Um, Question here. Were you surprised Marino got as many minutes as he did last night? Do you know, I was even surprised he came on. Like, I know he was in training, but I didn't really expect him to come on. Were you surprised to sort of see him get minutes?
Yeah, I thought with it being a shoulder injury as well, where it's like you're one like heavy fall
Yeah.
away from hurting it again. I thought it'd be like, oh, give him 5 minutes at the end, nice little run out. I didn't expect, like half an hour, but I think he did okay, and hopefully that puts him in a position for Southampton. I mean, I guess the good thing with it being his shoulder is that he's not really lost any fitness. Like he's been able to run
Yeah.
and whatever, something like a knee injury, so he's fit. But I don't know. Did you see his interview after the game? I can't remember who it was with, but he was just saying like I'm seeing so many things I've never seen before that I need to pick up. But
Yeah, he's probably thinking now he's got to, you know, think quick and do all these things in like the short period of time. But I think it's so hard to judge him right now. Like I couldn't really say what I think of him. I think it's a bit like Sterling at Arsenal. You know, we're sort of getting an opinion on him, but it's a bit for me. It's a bit early to sort of give a definite like opinion. But I think for him, I think the more minutes we'll see. You know, hopefully, you know, we'll be happy with his performance. But like you said, the injury was such such a weird injury to pick up, like an unexpected one. But obviously, it's really good to have him back. And Arteta's system is so difficult to learn. Apparently, yeah, I've heard that. I think Arteta's really showing that he's very he's a genius. Honestly, I was thinking about this the other day, right? With Raya. Like if you look at Raya now, like he honestly getting him, I know at the time I wasn't too sure really, but I think Arteta's got a really good eye for like finding these players that can really take us to that next level. I mean, like Ben White as well. When we signed him, so many people were like, what are we doing? And like now
Mhm.
it's like a miracle signing. Like it's just for me absolutely incredible to see the players Arteta's brought in.
Yeah, like even like everything seems to be an upgrade at the time. Like even like Ramsdale, people weren't really sure, and then
Mm,
that worked, and then we done the jump to obviously to Raya, and then people question White, like you said, and now Timber's come in, and it looks like Timber's chatting for that right back spot. It just seems like
yeah,
every year there's a little like incremental thing that we're not sure about, and we don't quite get why we're doing it. Even like a Havertz, I've been his biggest fan since day one, but so many people are like, I
yeah.
just I don't get why. Like even if he's a good player, but why? But now we're seeing like, oh, Arteta's got a role like designed for him. Like he is the
Yeah.
blueprint for exactly what we need from him.
It's so weird because, like you said, I mean, I think when we signed Havertz, it's very weird because now it's like a different player to me, and it's absolutely amazing to see how he's changed. And like everything he does, not just the goals he scores or not just like maybe the assists he gets, but just his overall play seems more hungry to like win the ball or win duels. It's really nice to see that attitude. And I think Arteta's obviously a big part to play in that, but I'm just so delighted with sort of how he's turned things around as well. And yeah, I wanted to actually ask you a bit about Odegaard because I've
Okay.
heard people, sort of say recently that we're not missing him as much, and it's quite hard because for me, like I know so far the season, I know his first game for me was really good, and then it sort of went a bit downhill. His performances weren't really how he was last season. A bit like Declan Rice, and we've now seen with Declan Rice, he's back to himself. He had a busy summer with the Euros, and um. But yeah, I want to just get your thoughts about how we're sort of playing without him. Do you think at the moment we're missing him, or do you think we're doing good without him?
I saw Robbie's
Yeah, I
fan.
saw that. I was like, what?
He sort of clarified it, didn't he? He was saying that it's not that we like obviously we really want him back, and he'd be so much better with him, but we're not missing him much. And I think the biggest compliment you can pay him is when you listen to Arteta's press conference the other day when he was like, "We're not trying to play without him. Like we're changing the way we play." Like it
Yeah.
is very easy to sort of put a square peg in a round hole and get someone to try and do what Odegaard does. But it looks like we've just gone, we don't have
Mm.
anyone that can do that. So we're just going to play completely differently until he's back and then try and work it. Because I thought it'd sort of like throw Havertz in that role and whatever. But
Yeah.
no, he's literally just gone, yeah, we can't do that. So I'm just going to do like a Rice and Jorginho base, let Trossard run around, and then we'll just change it till he's back. So I can't wait for him to be back, but I'm pleased with how we've done without him.
Yeah, I've been quite impressed to be honest because he's sort of a player that no one else can sort of replace, and like you said with Arteta, we're sort of learning to sort of play without him, playing in a different way, and I'm just kind of glad Havertz hasn't been playing in that position because it just doesn't work, and he's really good up top. So I think it's nice. It's just good to see Arteta's really kind of learned last season because I know we did see Havertz in midfield last season, and to us it's like so obvious it just isn't really going to work. I think Trossard's doing really well actually in that position, but I think we're doing good. I think Odegaard, when he's back, it's like when him and Rice weren't playing, you sort of realise what we miss, and it's only then you realise. But I think it's going to be great to have him back. But I am, against Man City as well. I was very impressed with how we did without him because going to that game, like I just didn't think we'd score many goals. I didn't think it'd be the same, but we honestly got through it, and yeah, I think we can do it. Big up Thomas in, good to see you as always. I don't see us winning the Champions League. We will get to the quarterfinals again or semi-finals. Yeah, I can't really argue right now. I think we could get to semi-finals, but like we said, it does depend as well, like who we get. I mean, if we get Madrid like in the quarters, then we're probably going to go home.
Yeah, even like Barcelona this year looked good, but
Yeah. Yeah, like I would Man City, like I wouldn't want to play, but I do feel like we could beat them. Like
Mhm.
I feel like that we've worked them out, and I think they hate that we've worked them out. So I think I wouldn't want to play them, but I wouldn't mind. But this season, like I know we'd obviously love to win it, but where do you kind of think we will finish in the Champions League?
yeah, I think my minimum like expectation maybe is quarters, but
Yeah,
I'd like to see semis. I think got to finish in the top eight of the league phase, get through the round of 16, whoever we get. Because I think if we finish in the top eight, we then get one of the playoff teams,
yeah,
and then sort of take it as it comes. If we get a Madrid or a City, then and we go out, fair enough. But yeah, I just want to see. I want to see a big European night where Arsenal turn up and win. Like
yeah.
last season, I wanted us to draw Bayern, take them to the Emirates, put three past them, and just be like we've arrived in Europe now. Wasn't quite to be. So this year, hopefully, we get like a Barca or something, get past them, and it's like, okay, we're serious now.
Yeah, honestly, I love kind of. It'd be good if we could have more of those like statement wins because last night,
Mhm.
obviously, we'll speak about a bit more. But the PSG game, it just felt like a very professional, comfortable win, and obviously those are great to have. But it'd be nice for us to batter a
Yeah.
few teams or score lots of goals. So I agree. And big up to Victor as well. Good to see you in here. But yeah, I wanted just to speak a bit about the game as well because
Mhm.
like we said, it was a very comfortable win, and we were pretty relaxed watching it. Like, I'm kind of surprised how relaxed, it was. But which sort of players stood out to you the most? Like, who was your player of the match?
Wow, there's so many, but
I know, like the whole team.
I think Havertz for me. I mean, I'm probably a bit biased because I've got that rep of being the Havertz guy, and whenever I've gone on AFTV, but like a complete centre forward performance for me. I think we were hitting him with long balls and he was controlling it. Like his hold up was amazing. Obviously, he crashed the box and scored a header. He sort of dribbled and got in the box at some point. Like everything you could want from a centre forward, he was doing. Sort of the long, the short, the in the air, on the ground. He was like a complete striker, and it's something you don't really see in the modern game anymore. So it's nice to see we found it.
Yeah. I think I completely agree with that. I mean, Saka's goal was amazing, but Havertz just felt like he was everywhere, in our
Mhm.
attack on the pitch. And I think that goal from Havertz, like obviously amazing ball from Trossard, I think it was, but I just can't stop watching that goal. Like I just think it was just perfectly timed the way he headed the ball into the net, and it didn't look actually quite easy for him to kind of in that position where he was. But like you said, I just think his overall performance was really good. And yeah, I just felt like a really professional win from Arsenal. Saliba as well defensively. We had to do a bit of work at times because I know we were a little bit sloppy at times in the second half. I mean, I'm not going to complain because we won, but it could have been different. But like Michael said, a really good performance from Saliba. We were fantastic yesterday. PSG was so bad. Timber kept Cola quiet. Emery couldn't do anything against Partey and Rice. Honestly, like I think PSG were quite quiet. Like I know we were good, but we sort of made them more quiet. Like going to the game, like we said, I did think we would win, but were you like surprised like how poor PSG were? Like don't get me wrong, we were really good, but I kind of thought PSG would be up for it a bit more and attack a bit more than they did.
Yeah, especially when you look at their team with like you were saying they haven't got the superstars anymore. With how young and exciting they are, I thought I'd just see a bit of energy, a bit of like
Yeah,
like a basketball game, like Barcola going up against Timber, dropping the shoulder and beating him, and like Zaire Emery being everywhere, João Neves sort of pulling the strings, but they look so shy. That's the way. Barcola was the only one that tried to do anything, and like they were saying in the chat, Timber just had him locked up, and then when Calafiori went over, he did pretty much the same thing. So yeah, I was
yeah,
expecting to be maybe not better, but just more exciting. Like, I
yeah.
was, I was looking forward to watching them at least, but it was just quite bland and quite timid.
Yeah, I mean, like it was. Yeah, I was a bit surprised. Like, obviously, I felt confident going into the game, but I was, like you said, I thought there'd be a bit more from them. Like, it'd be a bit more exciting from them point of view. But I know defensively we did our job, but I can't really remember a time Ryan had to make like a big save. Like, I know Ryan made a few saves in the game, but I feel like he had quite like a quiet game as well because he didn't really have a lot to do, and I think, yeah, that was really surprising. PSG are like us both. We just we've never won the Champions League. I mean, I hope we can soon. That would be amazing. And I get why fans pick that over like a Premier League because we've never won the Champions League. It would be absolutely like amazing to win it, and I do really hope we can win it. And I wanted to ask you a bit about Martinelli as well because
Okay, yeah.
at the game at the weekend, he obviously, he scored a goal and his performance for me seemed quite, he seemed like that really helped his confidence. And I don't think he had a bad game yesterday. I think he has more confidence now, but obviously he had really two big chances. And one of the goals, if he scored, that would have been absolutely amazing. Um, with the chances that he had, like obviously you'd want him to score at least one of them, but do you feel like the goalkeeper just made good saves and it was sort of hard for him to finish them chances, or are those chances from Martinelli, do you expect him to score?
I think the one that he hit on the volley, I think it was like a throw in and got flicked over to Havertz. Havertz flicked it over to Martinelli, and it was on the full volley with so much room around him to hit. I think he's got to put it in one of the corners. I mean,
Yeah,
if he goes to the keeper's side and the keeper guesses and saves it, then I get it. But you've got to find the corner, and that's what my problem's been with him
yeah,
for so long is that he's so electric and he's so exciting, but he's just so raw still. And it seems to be like every season we wait for him to sort of get this composure and go up a gear and his decision making improves, and it just doesn't quite hit it. Like maybe it was a bit of a false dawn a couple of years ago where he hit, was it 15 Premier League goals, and it was like, oh, okay, it's clicked for him now. But
yeah,
I think that was maybe just we were playing a lot in transition. A lot of our game plan involved the ball ending up with him to poke home, and I don't know. I think he's still there's a gear to go up. that he's definitely
Yeah.
got, but it's still not yet.
Yeah, I think the volley one would have been an amazing goal, but
Oh, yeah.
I think, like you said, some chances are quite hard for him. But I think we have like high expectations of him, so we've seen what he can achieve, and like you said, I think if he like a few seasons back scoring 15 goals, I think obviously the season might be a bit different. I mean, I just hope he can get his goals because I think people have given up on him a little bit, and I still see a very good player in him, that's quite different to the other players. But like you said, I just think, yeah, things have sort of changed with him, recently. But I think he did have a good game yesterday. I just think he wasn't really, he's not clinical enough for us just yet. But I do hope his future will still be at Arsenal because I know
Mhm.
we'll have those conversations at the end of the season. Like, if I hate asking this question because I love Martinelli, but if he's not really scoring as much and the season's finished, like, would you still like him at Arsenal? Would you still give him a bit of time, or what's your thoughts?
I'm like you, I love him, but I think if you were to look at like one position
Mm,
in the team, that's probably the one that's maybe the weakest right now.
yeah,
Trossard's what 28, 29, so he's not the long term answer. So I think if Martinelli has another year of being poor, that's when you go in the market and you say, well, if left wing is our weakest position, what about a Nico Williams? Who about this player, that player? That's when you look at,
yeah,
like, you don't want him to become that Smith Rowe who we all love and is so exciting and has so much potential, but just sort of the team grows quicker than they do and they just end up disappearing, sadly.
yeah. It's a shame, and I really do hope it works. Like Smith Rowe is a good example because, like, a few seasons back, like I honestly thought he would be a legend at Arsenal, and
Mhm.
obviously it's sad it hasn't worked out. But I know football moves on really fast. I'm just really, really hoping that it does work out with Martinelli because, like, these players really took barrels when we were going through, a lot of difficult times, and I almost feel like they deserve to have the success now with us. So I'm
Mhm.
really hoping that, yeah, Martinelli can just be more clinical, but like obviously his confidence is, gradually getting better, which is obviously a good sign. Michael says they hit the post and crossbar, but apart from that, can't remember. Yeah, I think they did hit the crossbar. I remember that, but I don't
Yeah.
really. Do you remember like a time Raya did anything like big? Because I just kind of can't remember now.
The only time I can think of was when Kang In Lee hit one from quite far out and it wobbled in the
Yeah,
air and sort of adjust. But that was like that's a 30-yard pop shot, so it's not the biggest chance in the world. I think it's the first time in like 50 Champions League games they've not scored.
I know that.
It's
That's
a
so
crazy.
like, because the thing is, like, if you look at how we played yesterday, defensively, obviously we play how we usually play, but I didn't even think we, played at our best in the sense we didn't. We could have gone up another gear in our attack. We could have even scored more against them, but I think we just wanted to get that win. And to be honest, we know that they're thinking about the game at the weekend, and they want to sort of not run out of their energy for that. So I completely agree. PSG had the lowest ever Champions League XG. That's bad. Yeah, big up Thomason. We need to win a trophy this season. No excuses. One FA Cup in 5 years is not good enough. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. This season, like, do you think we've got to win something? Because for me, like, I'm just so desperate for us to win something. Like,
Yeah.
my patience is like going.
I think, yeah, it's the Carabao Cup we've got to take seriously. We,
Yeah,
we never ever take it seriously. We have to, especially with was it Preston in the next round. Got to get through that, and then we're near the business end. FA Cup, and we need to see a run. Champions League, I think quarterfinals, semi-finals, we were saying maybe enough, and then Premier League with Rodri out, it has to be our year, surely. And then
yeah,
look, if City pull something out the bag and they hit 90 points again and they beat us by 2 points, then we can say fair enough. Look, they're just ridiculous. But if City have a little dip and we still don't win it, then we've only got ourselves to blame. But
yeah.
I need to see photos at the end of the season. I need to see Havertz with a trophy above his head. I don't care which one. I need one of them.
I know. I feel like these players really like deserve it too because like Saka as well. Like I'm just rooting for him to, win things. And I think as well, like if we don't win things now or the next few seasons, unfortunately, I know Madrid will win Tristan Saliba, and these sort of things will happen. And like to be honest, you're not really going to turn down Madrid if you know they're a great team. So I think we've got to win trophies as well for the players, but for us fans, it would be amazing. I know it's been like a while since we won the FA Cup, and it was sort of near lockdown time, so we couldn't
Yeah,
properly celebrate, which was very annoying. So yeah, let's really hope we can win something. Big up Kevin. Don't think you can win two things. Would you rather have the Premier League or the Champions League? Cheers from NS. What would you go for? I think we sort of answered this before, though, really, but
yeah.
yeah,
We said this. I think Champions League is the one I want to tick off. Like Premier League, I think is it's more like a harder achieve. It's probably like a better achievement because it's 38 games of being the best team in the country. Like you've got to be
yeah,
consistent the whole year. Like you can, to an extent, get an easy run in the Champions League and maybe fluke a game on penalties or something. But
yeah,
it's the one thing we haven't ticked off, and I'm sick to death of getting in arguments with like Chelsea fans that just turn around and go,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, but where's your Champions League?" It's, oh, yeah, you've got a point.
It's so annoying when they say that because I'm like, I mean, you're not doing great right now, but then they can throw at us the fact how many things they've won and we haven't
Yeah.
won. It's
And
like,
it's a fair point as well, so I can't even argue with them.
yeah, you can't argue against that. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what year it was, but you know when Havertz scored the winner in the Champions League final against Man City, that was
Yeah,
the one game I was cheering Man City, and then they didn't even.
can't have them having two, but
Oh, that
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it's annoying because we want to. We need to just have we want that to be able to say to them, you know, we've won it, you know, you can't say it to us anymore. But I think for me personally, like I'd love to win, you know, if we won either of them this season, I'd be over the moon. But I think they're both important for different reasons. Like you said, I think not not winning it in Arteta, people, you know, some people don't really like him, and to think the fact he's come in and won us that, if that ever happens, you know, that's a massive achievement. But I think with the league, because we've tried for it so many times and people sort of question if he can do it, if he, you know, if he's won it, it shuts people up. So I think it'd be nice in that sense. And I think for the players, like they've worked so hard season after season, you know, falling like 3 points behind Man City or 2 or 3 points, and then it's like this season, like you said, Rodri, obviously, I never will wish an injury on anyone, but I think it makes it easier for us. It's our chance. You know, they could slip up now. I know they do with Newcastle, which surprised me a lot. They could go on a bad run. So we've obviously, I always say, take it game by game, but we've got to really make the most of it now. But like with the league, what do you think we should do differently this season than we did last season? Because like last season, like we were able to we get the top six, we were fine, but it was like those other teams like the Fulhams, the West Hams that we weren't able to beat, and it's kind of crazy because on paper we should really be beating them.
yeah. For me, it's we seem to always have little dips, but they seem to last like a couple of weeks. Where if you look at Man City will, let's say they'll lose to Crystal Palace, and then next week they win 6-0, and it's like, okay, we had an off game, but we're back. But if you look at us
Yeah,
last year, it's like, oh, we draw at Liverpool, and then we lose to Fulham, and then we lose to West Ham, and it's like 3 games in a row of like, oh, Arsenal are wobbling here. So
yeah,
it's just stabilising quicker. Like we're not going to win every game. At some point, something's going to go wrong.
yeah,
We're going to have an off day. We're not going to score. We might lose to like a West Ham. It can happen to anyone, but it's just about bouncing back and then not letting it sort of snowball into this 3-4 game blip that we always
yeah,
seem. Same with Liverpool last year. You saw at the end they sort of had that drew with Man United, bit of a wobble, and then lost to Palace. I think drew at West Ham, and it was like, oh wow, they've fallen apart here. Obviously lost to Everton, so just not doing that and just
yeah.
getting back on the horse as soon as you fall off.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's so many games. I mean, Southampton, do you know, there's certain teams will play, and for some reason we just can't beat them. Southampton is one of those games, but you know what? It's really weird to be playing against Ramsdale. Like, it would
Yeah,
just be. I hate it, but it's. Do you know what? I mean, I can't argue. There's a point here. Someone said you think they'll win 7 or 8-0. I mean, I don't think we'll win by that much, but like, how do you feel like playing against Ramsdale? Because in a way, we're against him now when we're playing in that game, but I'll always have that love for him for what he's done for us. It's
yeah.
quite a weird feeling.
I hope he gets a good reception when they read his name out.
Yeah,
I'm sure he will, but I've seen so many funny things on Twitter about when we get a corner about Ben White stood next to him. playing with his gloves is how it's going to be being on the other end of it. You know, he's got to deal with everything that we've been sort of teaching
Yeah.
him for the past few years. But yeah, hopefully he gets a good reception, but also doesn't have a great game.
I know. I've been sort of keeping an eye out on him actually, and yeah, he has conceded a lot to be honest. But I think
He's
the
been quite
defense.
good.
Yeah, do you know what? I think to be honest, like the defense doesn't help the
No.
fact. Like, do you know if like Sleep and Gabrielle, like, if our defense were in front of him, it'd be a different story, and it has been different. You know, him being Arsenal, he played better with better players. You just do. I mean,
Mhm.
Gabriel, I remember when he came in, he was playing. He wasn't, with Saliba then. And when you play with better players, you do obviously become better. But yeah, I think it'd be nice if we won, and it was more like a 2-3-0, and it wasn't like a 7-1 or something like a battering. I think
Yeah,
we just need to get those 3 points. Like I think that's got to be the priority. Say what you want about the Scousers, but they did do us a very big favour. Try to think what life would be like if them lot down the road won the Champions League. Oh my god,
yeah.
yeah.
I,
Do you know what? Oh,
I remember I
honestly.
went to I remember watching it with a load of friends. There were sort of 8 of us, and it was like 6 Liverpool fans, me, and a Spurs fan. And I remember just sitting on that sofa. All that "You Never Walk Alone" came out. I had a red T-shirt on. I've never been more Scouse for 90 minutes.
I can't believe they actually got to a final. Looking at Spurs now, I
Yeah,
can't imagine them ever being in a Champions League final. But yeah, I remember watching that game, and like obviously I didn't want to watch it, but I just had to. And then when Liverpool scored, like I've never celebrated like that
yeah.
in my life. But
I think I
yeah,
was more nervous than the Liverpool fan sat next to me. So
yeah,
when they got that penalty in like the first minute, whatever it was, I was like, "Oh, okay, I've calmed down now."
I know, like, do you know what? I don't think I'd, oh God, online with like Twitter, Instagram, the whole, like, even going to like school and stuff, it'd be so embarrassing the fact that
Mhm.
they've won it before us. Like, I know maybe one day they'll win it, but I want to win it before then.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think they're gonna win it anytime soon, but I
yeah,
think we've
you
got
can
to.
imagine sort of beating them 3-0 at their stadium, and then all you see in the replies is just photos of them with a Champions League trophy, and it's like,
I
oh,
know it'd be it'd be
that's
horrible.
gonna,
Yeah, I mean, that's another reason why we've got to win Champions League because we've got to do it before them. Absolutely. Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Nottingham Forest at home, Chelsea away. How many points can we get? A good question, actually. The Liverpool one will be interesting. Really, that's the only game. Newcastle, do you know what? It's really hard with Newcastle actually. Like Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Southampton, and Bournemouth. We should win that, but I
Mhm.
think the Liverpool one, like, how do you sort of feel about playing them really? Because they've got a new manager. They're playing quite good. I know they've only lost a game, but I just feel like that when we play Liverpool, it's always so tough.
Yeah, I think you've got to beat them at home. I think if we're saying Anfield, it's different. I think just looking at those
Yeah,
games, you've got to win the home ones. Chelsea away will be a problem, as will Newcastle. But
yeah,
I think with title rivals, you've got to beat them at home and then just get something away. So
yeah.
Liverpool, I'm confident going into that game. I'm sure closer to the time I'll get more nervous, but for now I'll say I'm confident
I
of it.
think at home it's sort of like different, isn't it? You feel more like confident because of
Mhm.
the fans, and we always do well. Actually, we've done quite well. We've beaten them a lot actually at the Emirates, and I'm pretty confident. But let me just go back. So how many points do you think we can get from all of those games? I think
Let me
with
do the maths.
Liverpool's the one that I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
um,
I think like 14, 16 maybe.
I
Win
think
all
you
the
take 14 really.
win the home ones, beat Bournemouth away, and if we get a draw at Newcastle, and then try and beat Chelsea, is sort of where I'm at with it. But
I
yeah,
mean, Chelsea are obviously doing good at the moment, but I just, I honestly just want to wipe the floor with Chelsea. I honestly hate Chelsea. Like being them would be amazing. Newcastle, yeah. I mean, I think we should beat Newcastle. I think Nottingham Forest is always an interesting one because I think teams that might be sort of lower down in the league obviously will want to fight to stay up, and that's always the games we kind of struggle with. But I think we should really be beating them. I mean, it's at home, I think, so I think that's an advantage to us. But yeah, I think 14 points should definitely take for that. We have been getting better and better since day one with Arteta. We are going to be better the second half of the season. If we can get to the new year on top, we are snatching the league and the Champions League there for the taking. I mean, do you know what? I remember like a few seasons back, we were like 10 points ahead of Man City Christmas, and so many of us were like celebrating, and it ended up, for some reason you look at it and think, how did that slip? And I just feel like even if you were top at Christmas, I just couldn't get excited. Like, I would enjoy it, but like, I feel like it's the hope that honestly kills you as a fan.
Oh yeah, the more you got into it. I mean, I started working with AFTV in that sort of in that February. So sort of the first thing I saw when I came in was Cecil's league table T-shirt with the
Oh, I
Christmas.
know.
That was one of the first things I saw about him. So I
I
won't get
know.
that excited, but I'll get as excited as I can.
Yeah, do you know what? For me, like, I've seen us get so close to things, and then we just don't do it. So for me, I'll be happy and content with things, but I can never really relax until it's over. Like when we've officially won a league or when we've officially won, a trophy, that's when I think we'll all celebrate.
Mhm.
But it'd just be so, so nice because you look at other things about the club, the support is absolutely amazing, like home and away, and to have that parade and to see how much fans there are there, compared to the City fans. I mean, there's a big jump, but yeah, I think this season's got to be ours, especially like we said, Rodri being out for the whole season. We've got to really take it to our advantage. And Victor says, "I love how we've managed Odegaard's absence." Yeah, me too. I think it's been quite good, to be honest. Like when Odegaard was injured, like honestly, I thought our season's gonna be over. I was like, we're in trouble. But like, have you been surprised sort of how well we've kind of done? Not necessarily without him, but how different we've played and how we're sort of managing it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that we have sort of a plan B. I mean, I think
Yeah,
if you look a couple of years ago, I used Saliba as the example. Saliba got injured, and it was like, oh, we'll bring Rob
yeah,
Holt in, but we'll still play the high line. We'll still like invert the fullbacks. We'll play exactly how we used to, but use Holding instead of Saliba. And it was like, yeah, well, he's not quick. He doesn't really like having the ball at his feet, so it causes more problems and it solves. Whereas now we're going, Havertz can't do that. Trossard can't do that. So let's just completely change it. We'll have a
mm.
plan B and we'll actually solve the problem. So it's nice to see that we've got a bit more flexibility than maybe we used to. And that comes with good depth as well.
I know it was really weird. Like, obviously, I love Rob Holding, and he's a great player. But it's like when like Saliba wasn't playing, you could really see the difference in the
Mhm.
team. Like, it's just different. Gabriel to Saliba. There is, Gabriel was better, but Rob Holding did obviously do a good job when he was here. But I think it's good because the squad depth we have now. Like, if Partey wasn't playing, that Jorginho is going to put a good shift in. I mean, no one could really step up to, in Rice's role, but the players that we have are more than capable of putting in a good performance. I mean, I think it's a bit hard because like I know if the striker situation or if Saka is injured, I know Sterling's here, but he's not quite like Saka and they're very different players. So I do sort of wonder as well with Sterling, like on the left hand side, we don't really have like a proper starter. I know Martinelli's been starting, then Trossard. If Martin Odegaard was here, Trossard would probably be coming off the bench. And Trossard's definitely for me an amazing player to have, and I think as an impact sub he's very good as well. But with like Sterling, do you think he's more of a starter, or do you feel like Arteta's sort of trying to gradually, build him in and get minutes?
I think, I mean, the way that I would have pitched it to Sterling is that left wing spot isn't nailed down. Martinelli's out of form, and Trossard's sort of been better off the bench. So if you can nail that
Yeah,
down, it's there for you. But also, he's played a lot on the right in his career, and Saka can't play every game. So
yeah,
there's minutes up for grabs if you want them. How you take them is up to you. If you play on the left and you're amazing, then you start on the left. If you start on the right for a couple of games, then we rest Saka in the cups, and then you come. So I think it's whatever he makes it, because it's been a massive problem with Saka of he just never ever, even getting subbed off, he never ever seems to get a break. Arteta just didn't
yeah,
he didn't seem to trust Reece Nelson enough. I don't know if that's because he was young and he's not as experienced, but it's nice now that we've seen in
mm,
the couple of games at 60 minutes in, half an hour to go. Okay, Saka off. someone else, try something different. It's nice to see the kids sat down on the bench for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think with Saka, like he loves playing like a lot anyway, so I think he knows that. But it's kind of nice as well if he does maybe not play a full game. I know at the start of the season Arteta sort of brought him off a little bit, and I think that's good because I know sometimes he can be like predictable. I mean, obviously recently he's been very good, but I think when he plays too much, you can see he's getting burnt out. So I think it's good for Sterling to have, you know, if we're sort of running out of energy in the season, I mean, I don't know, we might bring someone else in January, but I know this is only like a loan for Sterling. So, if it didn't go too good, he's probably going to go to Chelsea or wherever he will go. But I think it was a good thing for Arsenal to do. And I mean, against Bolton, obviously, he did really well. He was my player of the game. But obviously, in the Premier League, it's sort of different. Like, what would you say you expect from Sterling this season? Because, like, for me, like, obviously, you expect strikers to, like, hopefully score a lot. I expect Havertz to try and maybe score 15 goals to 20 in the Premier League. But with Sterling, like, I just don't know what to expect. Like, obviously, I want him to always, try his best when he comes on and try and score. But I just sort of don't know what I expect from him, really.
Yeah, I'm just expecting him to just be that backup that can play on the left, on the right if he nails down a place. And for me, the thing that I love about it so much is it's smart business. Like he's on loan, we're paying like half his wages. I mean, how many times? I mean, look at Chelsea for example. How many times have they just gone? Oh yeah, we need a left winger, so we'll just get Mudryk because it's like the best we can do. I mean, we did the exact same thing where we looked at it and we're like, we're not
Yeah,
we're not paying 100 million for Caicedo, so let's do Jorginho for 6 months on the cheap, and then we'll go get Rice in the summer. Or we're not paying 92 million for Mudryk or whatever it was, so we're going to get
yeah,
Trossard now. And it's nice to see us actually make smart decisions because we could have gone in this summer and gone, oh my god, we need a winger, and then just thrown money at like a Williams or anyone, but
yeah,
it's nice to see us doing smart business and actually doing the intelligent thing. And then,
mm,
if there wasn't many wingers available this summer, so if Sterling does
yeah.
okay, we don't renew his loan, fine. But then next summer, hopefully, there's more wingers out there, and we've not blown our budget on someone we didn't really want.
I think it was hard really because I know Reece Nelson obviously going on loan and we had to sort of replace him as well. Like if he's gone, we're in trouble. We need more
Mhm.
players. So I think it's interesting because a lot of fans felt like Sterling was like a panic buy, and I think. Do you know if we'd bought a striker and we bought Sterling, I think people would have seen it differently. I think it's just
Yeah,
because we've bought Sterling and we still need a striker. So I think Sterling's definitely gonna hopefully do good things. I mean, obviously, I don't expect him to like score like 20 goals or like 15.
no,
I just hope if we're struggling throughout the season, he can really step up. Because the second half of the season is gonna be massive for us, and I just sort of hope. He can do what we want, and obviously, it'll be sad if it works well and he obviously goes back to Chelsea because I know at Arsenal he seems quite happy, to be honest. He seems like he's got a really good connection with the fans. I mean, I know we do buy a lot of Chelsea players, I don't know why we do that, but I mean they've got a lot of players to buy, but I think recently though, like the Chelsea players we've bought have actually been pretty good. Like for me, Havertz, like I just think it's absolutely amazing to sort of see how far he's come. But for you with like Havertz, do you feel like he could win us the league by himself, like as a striker, or do you feel like we'd need to bring someone else in?
I'm so torn. Like I'm
Yeah,
so torn. Like I really like him. I think he's amazing up front. He's like my favorite player, and I think he's done amazing things. But I just look at there's going to be games where we just can't score. Like you just can't
yeah,
break a team's defending really well. They're in a low block, like West Ham last year at home, where no matter what we do, we just can't score, and we just don't have that player that out the blue is going to do something. Like you look at City with Haaland, no matter how badly they're playing, he'll get them out of jail. Salah's done it so many times for Liverpool. So I'm
yeah,
looking like Gyökeres at Sporting as someone that can just get him in the box. We're playing awful. One chance he'll score it, whereas Havertz maybe can't do that part of the game.
yeah.
So it's such a tough one because bringing in a big name striker means the end of Havertz up front to an extent. So it's not a nice
Yeah.
make either way really. But I don't know, where are you with it?
Like obviously I love Havertz. Like I think he's amazing. Like what he's done is so far as well is great. And I think last season I think he was just more he had a good season, don't get me wrong, but I think we knew like maybe the first 10 games, it was about him sort of settling him gradually, his goals, and I think after a while, his goals just they kept coming after each other. I think when he played for his international team, he obviously did well, and then that's helped him with his confidence. But it's really weird now because like when Havertz came, maybe at the first 5 games, like I wasn't sure on him and I didn't know if it was going to work. But you've seen with Arteta, like he can get the best out of players. I mean, I think Xhaka's a good example. Like, Xhaka's not everyone's cup of tea, but you look at the player he was when he left, and when he first came, he's so improved, and that's a lot to do with Arteta. So, I do like Havertz. It's really weird because we've got like Jesus as well, but I think with Jesus, like lately, I know he's had a lot of injuries, and I get that, but he's just not really done a lot for us. And I think if we want to win the league, we just need that difference maker, whether that's a winger or. I do think striker wise, I mean, I'm not saying Havertz can't get to that level or can't, win us league on his own, but I think as well, we maybe having the right players around him to score well. I mean, like we said, Martinelli, if he can get a good amount of goals, if Saka can get a good amount, and that helps Havertz because the pressure's a bit off him. But yeah, I mean, Havertz obviously can finish some amazing chances. I mean, he does miss a few, but I think the ones you didn't expect him to score, he does score. So,
Yeah,
like the goal yesterday, like I looked at that and I thought, if you'd missed that chance, I would understand because it's a very hard chance to head. But yeah, I do like Havertz. It's amazing to see now the support he's got. Like I know when he first came, like a lot of fans like, why are we buying him? Like, because I know he wasn't. I know people I don't really use these type of terms in football, but I know people sort of said he was like a flop, and I think sometimes it can be about your environment that you're in. Like if you're not happy there or for the manager's not for you, like I think he just needed that change. So it's obviously amazing to sort of see how far he's come. And yeah, I just really hope this season he can get like I don't know how many goals I expect really. I think 15 I'd be happy with, but do you think he could get 20 or do you think that's a bit of a push?
I think 20 in all competitions, but you're so right with what you say about it's the environment. Like two things can be true. Like I know you're saying like you
Mm,
don't like the word flop, and it's because it's Chelsea Arsenal. It's a rivalry. Like they're never going to say that he's good. We're never going to say that he's not good. But
yeah,
like, two things can be true. He could not be good at Chelsea and be good at Arsenal. Like those things can both coexist, and it's the environment. If you want to be a number 9 at Chelsea, typically look who's been good for them, like a Drogba or Diego Costa.
yeah,
You've got to be a strong, tall finisher. That's how they get success. They play wing backs that cross the ball in. Whereas at Arsenal, he can come a bit deeper. He can link the play. He can sort of be a bit more free, like the false nine. Like you saw,
yeah,
yes, the whole reason the goal happened yesterday is because he's dropped it in midfield and he's got no one
yeah,
marking him when he runs all the way. Which at Chelsea, if that's him, he's just stood on the centre back. He's being the
yeah,
target man. So it's just different environment, different systems, and he looks like he's such a confidence-driven player, and he just looks so happy. Like
mm,
scored that penalty against Bournemouth last year. You saw how shy he was. He looked ashamed to celebrate the fact that we'd given him a penalty, but now he's almost a bit nasty, which I didn't think he had in him at all.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I've never seen it until this year, where I always thought he was this shy little sort of skinny guy that's not really going to get involved. But I saw he flew into a tackle at Newcastle last year. He always gets up for the North London derby. Sort of like he pushed the Porto manager over. Like he's got that little bit of
that
not
side to him, yeah.
not to swear, but he's got the Andy Robertson in him. He's got the nasty streak, the wind up merchant.
I think that's good to have because I know in recent years we've never had players like that. Like
Mhm.
like I know it's just nice as well. Like because I know if the players are in like not really a fight, but on the pitch, if like the Spurs one's a good example. Like with that Timber incident, you could really see the team were supporting Timber and fighting for him. And I think it's amazing that Ben White's a good example. Like, I think if you're not an Arsenal fan, I think you'd hate Ben White, but obviously we love that nasty sort of bit he has in him. Because I feel like he just really irritates, players, especially when he's sort of marking them. I feel like he'd be dead annoying if you're like not an Arsenal fan. But I think for us, we've needed players like this for like such a long time. So for me, it's nice to have that side because I know sometimes we used to be sort of maybe too nice, and it was always quite easy to sort of play against us at times. So I think it's so like good to have the element of us, like, you know, not to mess with us. And yeah, I think it's amazing to sort of see how together this team is. So yeah, but before we wrap the show up, I've got to round up by asking you a question. Can we win the league?
Oh, of course, of course.
I
I
love
think
that.
you've got to say it with confidence now. I think first year City always knew they were going to catch us. Last year City thought they could catch us and did. This year, I think they are genuinely scared of us, which is such a nice thing to say. Like the big Man City that we used to look at the fixtures and be like, oh, that's 5-0, that's 6-0.
You sort of knew you were going to lose anyway, so you always prepared yourself. Like,
Yeah, I used to look at the fixture list and be like, City home and away, Liverpool home and away. That's 4 losses. Probably Chelsea, Newcastle. We'll lose them ones, and we just try and win the rest. Whereas now it's like, oh no, we can beat everyone. Like if we turn up, like Anfield is the only one left this season that I'm like, okay, that could be a problem.
yeah, the Anfield ones, like I think going to Anfield is like it's always a tough one. I mean, it's really weird as well. I mean, I personally think we'll do fine, but when we've gone to Goodison Park, like that's
Mhm.
another one. I mean, I know last season we got that win. Obviously, Trossard won it for us, but there's certain games for us that are just ones that we struggle with for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know
But
how to describe
yeah,
it, but it feels like almost like a European away day, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Like when you go to Anfield or you go to Goodison, it feels like it's like a completely different environment. Like the fans, the people, the atmosphere. Like it feels like a European away day, which I think is why it's so difficult. Like it's almost
yeah.
a completely different country.
I think as well, like with Liverpool, no one's really put them in the box of they're going to challenge for the league. Like the
Mhm.
way people have obviously put us, Man City, there for going for the league, but like for Liverpool, no one's kind of put them there, and I think that's a good thing for them because it doesn't put the pressure on you. Because like when people say they think Man City are going to win like the league, I mean they could be right by saying that, but it doesn't bother me too much because like we obviously could prove people wrong and it puts the pressure off you a little bit. And I know in recent years we used to struggle with that. I just wanted to answer this before we round this up. Is this year a must win to win the league? If not, when is it? Big up South, keep up the good work. Big up yourself. Thank you so much. That's a good question, and honestly, I don't know. Like we will, as fans, we want to win the league every year. We want to win it, but when's the right time? We've obviously the first season we kind of competed. We didn't expect it, and people might have said we overachieved. And but this last season, um, I think Timber being out, obviously, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I think if he would have played, things could have been different. Everything could have been different if we look at things. But for you, like, when do you think we must win it?
I think it has to be soon. I think
Yeah,
that there's a window opening of obviously Man City have Rodri injured, and we don't know if Pep's going to stay. Obviously, Liverpool are entering a new era and are only
yeah,
going to get better when they settle. Chelsea look like they're getting better. United, at some point, I think, will sack Ten Hag, so then they could get better. So we're in a window right now where there's a lot of teams around us that aren't up to scratch yet, whereas we're sort of there. So I think it's almost now or never before everyone else starts to catch up again.
yeah. I mean, I know Arteta might have signed a deal actually. I can't remember, but I think we know he's going to be here for a while, and like in the next 5 years, obviously we have to win it by then. For me, like I know in this 5 years we could obviously win a few FA Cups. I mean, we could win a Champions League, and obviously winning that would be amazing. But I think within the 5 years, even if we do have other success, I think we definitely should. I'd probably say within 2 years, really. Um, Obviously, this is our third season properly going for it, and I think the first time when we were like 10 points, above them, I felt like that was our chance because I knew the season after that teams were going to get better.
Mhm.
I mean, I did think United would get better, but they've just gotten worse. But I think Liverpool with Man City at the moment, they're the teams that are gonna continuously getting better, and we've got to always make sure we're improving every season. But that's a really good question actually, and it's a good conversation to have because we're so close, and it's always about these fine margins. About if we can close the gap. You know, last season it was about 2 points behind, which is a bit frustrating. But
Mhm.
if we can just win a game that we didn't win last season and have a similar season, I think that's all we can ask. So yeah, I'm hoping we can win it. I love your prediction. Winning, being first would be amazing. I think, like you said, with Rodri not being here, I think it gives us a good chance to do it. But yeah, fingers crossed, guys, we'll win the league. But I just wanted to thank you all so much for watching the show tonight, for sending your questions. We've both really enjoyed it. But Jack, thank you so much for coming on. I really loved it.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you for giving us the call.
Oh, you're very welcome anytime. You're more than welcome to come on. But do you want to just tell people where they can find you or give you a follow on social media?
Yeah, so just Twitter and TikTok for me at the minute. So Twitter, obviously, if you're watching this on X, sorry, you'll
It's
see
weird calling it X, yeah.
Devenport_Jack, and then TikTok, which is the one I actually post on. It's just Jack Devenport 34. So anyone dropping a follow is much appreciated. So yeah, and opportunities like this always help.
Yeah, please do check him out and give him a follow, guys. And yeah, I've fully enjoyed this. We'll definitely do this again. But I'm just happy we've spoken after a win, because I
Mhm.
think if we had lost, it wouldn't have been the greatest conversation. But yeah, big thank you for you to coming on tonight. And yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Before we do end this, please don't forget to smash the likes, do subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye, guys.